The divine design of the brain, a spiritual and scientific exploration. The human brain, often heralded as the most complex organ in existence, is a marvel of both nature and, to many, divine intention. Far from being a passive processor, it is a living, dynamic network of neurons and synapses that continuously reshapes itself in response to experience. This phenomenon, known as neuroplasticity, challenges the long-held belief that the brain becomes fixed after childhood. Instead, it reveals a grace within our biology, a divine flexibility, echoing the limitless mercy and forgiveness we often associate with God. Through this lens, neuroplasticity becomes more than a scientific concept. It becomes a metaphor for redemption, transformation, and second chances. Throughout history, many have believed the brain to be the dwelling place of the soul, the intersection between our mortal selves and the divine. As Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This renewal, this constant reshaping of our inner world, may be more than psychological. It could be spiritual. Could the brain's ever-evolving architecture serve as a channel for divine messages? If we were indeed created in God's image, then the brain's inherent capacity for change and growth could mirror God's own dynamic nature. As our experiences alter our neural pathways, are we gradually aligning ourselves with a higher frequency, becoming more receptive to divine guidance? Ancient scriptures, the Vedas, the Torah, the Quran, all echo themes of transformation, renewal, and the eternal pursuit of wisdom. These spiritual teachings align seamlessly with what neuroscience reveals. The human brain is built to adapt, to heal, and to grow. If the brain can rewire itself, learn from trauma, and forge new paths, then surely it's also capable of perceiving and interpreting spiritual truths. Like a radio adjusting its frequency for clarity, a well-tuned mind, through conscious effort and neuroplasticity, might be the perfect receiver for God's gentle whisper. Our surroundings, choices, and thoughts all shape our brains. Just as spiritual wisdom urges us to seek uplifting company and avoid toxic influences, neuroscience confirms that our environment profoundly impacts brain health and emotional well-being. Pursuing virtues like patience, compassion, and wisdom doesn't just bring us closer to God, it literally reshapes the brain. Spiritual alignment then becomes both a mental and sacred journey. With every wise choice, we tune our hearts to divine frequencies, experiencing moments of insight, intuition, and purpose. Words, too, carry sacred power. From ancient times to the present day, language has shaped empires, relationships, and personal destinies. Spoken with love, words can heal, uplift, and connect. Uttered with anger or hate, they can divide, wound, and destroy. This spiritual potency of language is emphasized in John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Across faith traditions, words are more than communication. They're vehicles of divine expression. Neuroscience echoes this. The emotional charge of language imprints itself onto our neural pathways, reinforcing the connection between what we say and how we feel. When we speak with kindness and empathy, we illuminate our inner world. We open ourselves to divine presence. When our words are poisoned by bitterness, we cloud our minds and dim our spiritual perception. Our choice of words toward others and ourselves determines how clearly we perceive God's voice. Language infused with grace brings us into harmony with divine love, compassion, and understanding. But communication is not limited to speech. Our emotional brain, the limbic system, responds constantly to the world around us. Our emotional state can either open the door to spiritual insight or block it entirely. A heart weighed down by resentment may miss divine signs, while a peaceful heart, even in chaos, can discern God's whispers. By regulating our emotions, calming our inner storms, we create space to receive divine wisdom. Scripture and neuroscience agree. Unchecked emotions and careless speech harm both speaker and listener. As Psalm 19:14 so beautifully pleads, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord." This verse affirms the deep connection between our words, emotions, and spiritual clarity. The brain's ability to evolve its neuroplasticity is a miraculous testament to the divine design of human life. At the intersection of faith and neuroscience lies a profound truth. Our brains were built to grow, to seek, and to become more than they were yesterday. Spiritual development and cognitive evolution are not separate paths, but two facets of the same divine journey. Underlying this journey are spiritual laws echoed in the workings of the mind. The law of cause and effect, for instance, is mirrored in neural processes. Every thought, feeling, or action reinforces certain pathways or creates new ones. Spiritually, this reflects divine accountability. What we sow, we eventually reap. When we act with love, grace, and kindness, we not only benefit others, we nurture our own souls and brains, inviting God's presence into our lives. The law of adaptation reminds us that our brains change in response to repeated exposure. Proverbs teach, "He who walks with the wise grows wise, and do not associate with the easily angered." These ancient truths align with what neuroscience shows. Our brains absorb and reflect the environments we immerse ourselves in. Spiritually, God urges us to choose our influences wisely, knowing they shape our journey toward or away from divine truth. Then comes the law of choice, the sacred gift of free will. Every decision alters our brain, reshaping our path. Spiritually, it's a reflection of divine trust. God does not force us, but invites us to choose alignment with His will. With each choice, we edge closer or further from our higher purpose. And still, the brain's potential extends further. It can grow dendrites, forge new connections, and even generate new neurons, a process known as neurogenesis. This biological renewal mirrors the spiritual principle of rebirth. God's mercy allows for fresh starts. Through forgiveness and grace, we shed old burdens, both mentally and spiritually, stepping into new life. Growth, however, is rarely easy. Both the brain and the soul face external trials. The law of diversion reminds us that blocked paths often lead to new opportunities. When doors close, God may open windows we never considered. What appears to be failure might simply be redirection, divine detours guiding us to greater growth. The concept of shockers in neuroscience, intense experiences that trigger brain development, parallels spiritual tests. Just as physical challenges stimulate neural growth, life's trials refine our character and deepen our faith. Fasting, hardship, or personal loss can awaken something within us. These are not punishments, but crucibles designed to strengthen and awaken our connection to the divine. Ultimately, the interplay of these laws, cause and effect, adaptation, choice, and diversion, paints a comprehensive portrait of the human experience. The brain, with its vast potential and intricate design, is a divine masterpiece, and the spiritual laws that shape our lives offer a compass, guiding us toward transformation, fulfillment, and communion with God. In the vast cathedral of the mind, divine communication may not be an abstract hope. It may be happening all the time. Through understanding the brain's inner workings, its emotional responses, its linguistic power, its adaptability, we can learn to listen more deeply for the sacred. And perhaps in the gentle silence between thoughts, in the flash of a new insight, or in the warmth of a kind word, God is already speaking.